Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the financial education you never got. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly build wealth while others struggle paycheck to paycheck, even with good jobs? What if I told you that the difference isn't about how much money you make, but how you think about money itself? Welcome back to Dhawan Essence, where we unlock wisdom for a better life. Today, we're diving deep into Robert Kiyosaki's groundbreaking book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a book that has transformed millions of lives by challenging everything we thought we knew about money and wealth. If you're ready to break free from financial limitations and start thinking like the wealthy, then this summary is exactly what you need. And if you find value in today's insights, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you never miss our life-changing content. The Tale of Two Dads, Different Mindsets, Different Destinies. Kiyosaki's story begins with two father figures in his life. His biological father, the poor dad, was highly educated, worked hard, and believed in the traditional path of getting good grades, finding a secure job, and working your way up the corporate ladder. His best friend's father, the rich dad, had a completely different philosophy. He understood that true wealth comes from making money work for you, not the other way around. Think about this for a moment. How many of us were raised with the poor dad mentality? Study hard, get a degree, find a stable job, save money in the bank, and retire at 65. But here's the reality check. This advice was designed for an economy that no longer exists. The rich dad understood something fundamental that most people miss entirely. The rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. While the poor and middle class focus on earning more income, the wealthy focus on acquiring assets that generate income. It's like the difference between being a hamster running on a wheel and being the person who owns the wheel and collects money every time someone uses it. Assets versus liabilities, the foundation of wealth. Here's where most people get it completely wrong, and it's costing them their financial future. Kiyosaki defines an asset as something that puts money in your pocket and a liability as something that takes money out of your pocket. Sounds simple, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Most people think their house is their biggest asset. Rich Dad would say that's exactly why they stay poor. Your primary residence is actually a liability because it takes money out of your pocket every month through mortgage payments, taxes, insurance, and maintenance. It doesn't generate income, it consumes it. Real assets include rental properties that generate monthly cash flow, stocks that pay dividends, bonds that pay interest, businesses that operate without your constant presence, and intellectual property that generates royalties. These are the vehicles that the wealthy use to build their fortunes. Imagine you're building a money-generating machine. Every asset you acquire is like adding another gear to that machine. The poor focus on adding more hours to their work schedule. The middle class focuses on adding more credentials to their resume. But the rich focus on adding more gears to their money machine until it runs without them. The cash flow quadrant. Where do you stand? Kiyosaki introduces us to 4 different ways people generate income, and understanding this quadrant is crucial for your financial transformation. On the left side, you have employees and self-employed individuals. On the right side, you have business owners and investors. Employees trade time for money and have the least control over their income. They're essentially renting out their lives to someone else. Self-employed people own their jobs, but they're still trading time for money. If they stop working, the money stops flowing. Think of a doctor, lawyer, or consultant. They might make good money, but they're trapped in their own businesses. Business owners, however, have systems and people working for them. They've created something that generates income whether they're present or not, and investors make money work for them through various investment vehicles. The goal is to move from the left side of the quadrant to the right side. Here's the profound truth. The wealthy understand that true freedom comes from passive income. When your assets generate more money than your expenses, you've achieved what Kiyosaki calls financial freedom. You're no longer dependent on a job or even your own business for survival. Financial education, the missing piece. Why don't schools teach us about money? Because the education system was designed to create employees, not entrepreneurs or investors. We learn about the Revolutionary War, but not about compound interest. We study Shakespeare, but not about tax strategies. We memorize mathematical formulas, but never learn how to read a financial statement. Rich Dad emphasized that financial intelligence consists of 4 main technical skills: accounting, investing, understanding markets, and understanding the law. You don't need to become an expert in all these areas, but you need to understand the basics well enough to make informed decisions. Think about it this way. If you don't understand how money works, you'll always be at the mercy of those who do. Financial education isn't just about getting rich. It's about not being taken advantage of. It's about understanding the difference between good debt and bad debt, knowing how taxes really work, and recognizing investment opportunities when they appear. The wealthy use debt to acquire assets, while the poor use debt to acquire liabilities. A rich person might borrow money to buy a rental property that generates positive cash flow. A poor person borrows money to buy a car that depreciates in value. Same tool, completely different outcomes. Overcoming fear and taking action. Fear is the biggest obstacle between you and financial freedom. Fear of losing money, fear of being criticized, fear of making mistakes. But here's what Rich Dad taught. The biggest risk is not taking any risk at all. In a rapidly changing world, the only security comes from your ability to adapt and learn. Most people let fear paralyze them into inaction. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the perfect time, the perfect amount of knowledge. But perfection is the enemy of progress. The wealthy understand that you learn by doing, not by studying endlessly without taking action. Start small, but start today. Maybe it's reading 1 financial book per month. Maybe it's opening an investment account and buying your first stock. Maybe it's looking into real estate investment opportunities in your area. The key is to begin your financial education journey and start thinking like an investor. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every wealthy person started with their first dollar of passive income. The difference between those who achieve financial freedom and those who don't isn't intelligence or luck. It's the willingness to learn, adapt, and take calculated risks. Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't just a book about money. It's a blueprint for thinking differently about your entire relationship with wealth and security. The core message is simple but revolutionary. Stop working for money and start making money work for you. The wealthy focus on acquiring assets that generate passive income. They understand the difference between assets and liabilities. They continuously invest in their financial education. And most importantly, they take action despite their fears. Your financial future isn't determined by how much you earn today, but by how you think about money and what you do with the money you have. The choice is yours. Continue following the Poor Dad's advice and hope for the best, or start implementing Rich Dad's principles and take control of your financial destiny. If this summary has opened your eyes to new possibilities, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What's the first step you're going to take toward building your own money-generating machine? Are you ready to challenge your current beliefs about money and start thinking like the wealthy? Don't forget to like this video if it provided value. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to Dhawan Essence for more life-changing insights. Remember, we're here to unlock wisdom for a better life, and your financial transformation starts with changing how you think. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep building the life you deserve.